About 19 years ago, my wife and I called up a scriptwriter and we tried to develop a script, and then we had to turn it down because it wasn't good enough, and went on for 19 years trying to get the script developed and ready and supervised. And then I'm not sure when Bill came to us. What year was that?
I lose track of time too, but it's about 3 years ago.
Take it over.
They want to know what you think about it.
Well, after it's been done and produced and directed, I thought it was the most factual movie I've ever seen on a personal basis about me. And so we worked very hard. Bill came through for us all with a great directing. And all I can tell you is I'm very proud of all the actors, especially Paul Dano.
Paul, your performance is beyond extraordinary. It is the soul of this movie. And I have to say, I've seen so many documentaries, especially like the Beach Boys and American Band, about you, Brian. And watching you, Paul, portray him in the studio like a kid in a candy store, I was so immersed in your performance, which was immersive unto itself. What kind of preparation did you do to play this man?
Well, thanks. You know, I've tried everything I could just to try to chase Brian's spirit around my apartment or around Los Angeles or wherever I was. And really, what it came down to for me was the music. You know, it was not just listening to it and listening to the sessions and hearing the creative spirit in the studio, but learning to play the music, to try to sing it, to learn to sing it. You know, it reminded me of being a kid. Like, kids sing just all the time. Like, kids are always singing. And as an adult, I'm not always singing. And something about spending so many months listening to Brian every day, playing and singing Brian every day, I felt like a kid. I mean, that the week or two we shot in the studio is probably the most fun I've ever had acting, and I think it's just because the spirit of the music, and my impression is that Brian is his music, and so no matter what I tried, it always just came back to the music, and it was such a blessing, so much fun.
Well, speaking of the music, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't already have Pet Sounds, Amoeba Music is one block over. But what I thought was really extraordinary about this film is your performance. I felt, and I wrote this in my own review of the film, I wrote Paul Dano is the soul of Love and Mercy, and John Cusack is the heart of Love and Mercy. These performances are completely different, yet there is an almost like childlike sensibility that ties them both together. So talk to me, Paul, about sort of working with John, but not really.
Yeah, John and I met when I was finishing and he was starting, and Bill trusted both of us, but really what I think it was trusting in Brian's spirit to sort of guide us. So if I just went towards my Brian and John went towards his, it would hopefully, you know, work itself out. But that thing you're talking about, I mean, it's interesting to talk about it in front of Brian, but my impression of it, you know, is that to me, Brian is he's such an open person, and that music, the contact with the music, you know, it's one of those things where art is sometimes bigger than yourself, and I think it's that openness that, you know, let maybe your child stay with you, but which also makes the highs high and the lows lower because you're that open, and it was a very beautiful place to get to live in for a while.
Well, Claire, Bill, while you were developing the story further,